Hello everybody and welcome back to your daily dose of information. Today we are going to talk about PTSD and later on interview someone diagnosed with PTSD. First up, we are going to talk about PTSD and give a short description on what it is about. Post-traumatic stress disorder, or commonly known as PTSD, is a particular set of reactions that develop in people who have been exposed to a serious traumatic effect that has threatened their life or safety. This could include a car crash, war, physical or sexual assault, terrible natural disasters, and more, resulting in the person to experience intense fear, helplessness, or horror. Next, I'll be talking about the four most common signs of PTSD and the symptoms. Number 1. Reliving the traumatic effect, such as experiencing reoccurring memories in the form of vivid images and or nightmares, including might be intense emotional or physical reactions such as sweating, heart palpitations, or panic when they are reminded of the event they have experienced. Number 2. Being overly alert or wound up. The person has difficulty sleeping at night and experiences irritability and a lack of concentration. They are easily startled and constantly are on the lookout for signs of danger. Number 3. Avoiding reminders of the event. The person will deliberately be avoiding activities such as places, people, thoughts, or feelings that is associated with the event because it will bring back painful memories which they have been through. Number 4. Feeling emotionally numb. The person has lost interest in their day-to-day activities. They feel cut off and detached from friends and family, or they will feel emotionally flat and numb. Thank you for that information, Dr. Lockie. Now we will be talking about some of the common myths about PTSD from Dr. Daniel. Then we will be interviewing a person that has PTSD and what it feels like having it. After that, it's a bit more information from Dr. Lockie, and that will be it for your daily dose of information.
So I've been hearing a lot of misconceptions about PTSD, so I was only wondering if military veterans get it.
Well, no. Actually, PTSD can affect everybody. Military veterans may be at increased risk of developing PTSD from the violent nature of war they've experienced.
So does PTSD occur immediately after a traumatic event?
Well, no, you will not instantly get PTSD right after a traumatic event. PTSD signs may not show symptoms for years. However, for some people, PTSD signs may emerge quicker than others.
So is PTSD a sign of weakness?
No, it is not. PTSD is not a sign of weakness. PTSD is a mental disorder that is linked to changes in the brain and alternations to the fear response. For example, experiencing a traumatic effect can impact your cognitive functions like memory, attention, and basically problem solving.
So it's like you're reliving it again.
Yes, pretty much.
So whoever goes through a traumatic event will get PTSD?
Almost everyone in their life will experience a traumatic event. It's not really entirely clear what predicts whether someone will develop PTSD entirely, but several theories have been put towards as what might increase someone's vulnerability towards PTSD.
So basically you're saying, no, not all people will get it.
Yeah.
There's a high chance of getting it.
But the rate of PTSD between men and women is that women definitely have an increased chance to get PTSD from traumatic experiences.
Okay. Are all people with PTSD violent?
No, people with PTSD are not violent. Having PTSD can be very distressing though. People are basically reliving their most traumatic experiences frequently, like you've mentioned
Right,
before.
okay. So,
It's not a good thing.
I imagine it isn't.
Because as we said before, it can affect your lifestyle and what you do and how you act, but not violent. It wouldn't make you violent.
Right. Will PTSD disappear after a long period of time?
One of the underlying factors of PTSD is that the person has built an association between experiences or a trigger and distressing thoughts or behaviors. PTSD can take a very long time and a lot of work to undo it. People that have PTSD might try to avoid the treatment for obvious reasons, as it involves talking about the trauma they have experienced. There are certainly cases where PTSD has been reduced or it's gone away over time. Yes.
No, so the answer would be yes.
Yes.
So is PTSD treatable?
PTSD can be very distressing and persistent, and the person with PTSD may feel like they will be forever carrying feelings of fear or threat, but thankfully there are several evidence-based treatments for PTSD that can help people address their triggers and symptoms and help them move beyond their traumatic experiences. So you can kind of treat it.
Okay, so there is a treatment for it.
Yes.
So it takes a lot of therapy to...
Yeah. So basically like therapy and talking about it, because
Yeah, okay. So everyone with PTSD experiences the same symptoms?
well, PTSD includes a variety of symptoms, and there are many ways that PTSD can occur. These are the 5 PTSD symptoms in these 4 clusters I'm about to tell you of information. Re-experiencing symptoms, or like intrusive thoughts, dreams related to reliving the trauma experience. Avoidance, like actively avoiding any thoughts or places or potential triggers that is related to the trauma. Third one, negative thoughts and moods. Difficulty remembering parts of the trauma that is related to why it happened, and arousal symptoms like difficulty sleeping or concentration, like basically being startled easily.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So basically, yeah, it was nice talking to you.
Thanks. Yeah.
What is it like living with PTSD? Living with PTSD has really affected all the things in my life. I've been avoiding a lot of people and places. I just hide myself, and I just really don't like to talk about anything that's happened. I just try to avoid the things that trigger me as best as I can. I hate living in the cities, and whenever I walk by an alleyway, I just have massive panic attacks, as it reminds me too much of what happened. I got sexually assaulted by someone with a knife. He was a tall person. He was buff and looked in his 30s. He had a red hoodie and jeans. I couldn't do anything to stop him. How do you avoid setting off any triggers? Well, whenever I have a panic attack, I usually have to constantly remind myself that everything will be okay and it's all in the past. Nothing will happen like that again, and I am safe here. I have lots of support, and whenever I need it, I can talk to somebody at any time, and it's just hard to talk about it. You know, okay. How do you cope with PTSD? Like, when you are having a panic attack, or how do you avoid it? I just take deep, long breaths and tell myself everything is going to be okay and nothing to worry about. Deep breaths. Have you been talking to any therapists or anybody to help you feel better? Well, I have thought about going to a therapist. It's just, you know, I can't talk about it. Talking about it would just make me remember, and I would just be afraid that something like that would happen again, you know? I see. Well, thank you a lot for talking about it, and hopefully we are able to help you with your PTSD. Not everyone with PTSD will be able to overcome it. It depends on the severity and the symptoms which they're experiencing, but there really isn't a specific guideline that is needed to be followed to overcome PTSD. But one of the things to keep in mind is that the brain and your body is stuck in a state of excessive stimulation, such as hyperdrive. And the key has to do with slowing them down enough to let your brain rewire itself back into its normal self. Going to now tell you some tips that other people have used to lower their level of adrenaline and rewire their nervous system to help cope with what they have experienced. 1. Acceptance. Initially, you will need to first admit to yourself that you have PTSD and to accept it. And that it has a profound impact on your life, and you have to accept it and acknowledge it. That the trauma you have endured has led to the disorder and needs to be accepted. If you are trying to deny it or blocking it out of your thoughts, you will not recover. 2. Therapy. One of the most important steps is to take when you have PTSD. You should go to a therapist and talk about it. If you are able to develop a connection with the therapist that actually emphasizes with you and your situation and can make it all the difference in the world. Eventually the goal, now it may seem really hard to open up about things like this, but taking the first step like this and getting help is really crucial for curing PTSD. I would at least recommend going once a week for psychotherapy for the first couple of months, if your PT is very severe. 3. Desensitization. Once you have fully accepted your condition and have been in therapy for a while, you will eventually need to face your memory of the trauma head on. This will likely be done, and it would be very painful and emotional for you, but it's what needs to be done. This, again, is the most crucial step of all. 4. Reprocessing. Desensitizing yourself to the trauma is a good thing, but reprocessing the memory is the key. As you reprocess the memory, you will need to change the way you are thinking about it and let it control you. Look back on what happened, basically. Though it may have ruined your life, you are still here. Strong. Looking at the memory in a different light with the help of your therapist will be a crucial step. 5. Restructuring. If you're in a funk and you feel like you are stuck in the same old routine, then it is a good idea to change things up. But getting involved in healthy activities are crucial, and sitting around in your room or being alone isn't good. But keep trying and do your best to push through your comfort zone. 6. Reducing stress. Part of reducing adrenaline and all that built up excess energy that comes with PTSD is by meditating, exercising, yoga, or doing anything that can reduce stress and anxiety. You will need to calm down the fight or flight response to a manageable level. Try not to overdo it with the cardio and stick to a weightlifting program, or try something like yoga. And cardio in excess amounts can sometimes cause more stress, so Try not to fall into this trap. 7. Facing your fears. The very last step after you have reprocessed your trauma is to face any of the lingering fears by going into situations that were linked to triggering fear. But this is an advanced step, and you should only do it once you know you are truly ready. Otherwise, it may re-trigger something you really don't want to re-trigger. 8. Now, recovery does not happen overnight. You will know you are on the path of recovering once the things that previously bothered you a lot are no longer causing any emotional pain. And another way to tell that you are in remission is by the amount of stress that is reduced, and you will also notice you are less tensed now and you are feeling more relaxed. Now, I am no way guaranteeing that this will be a way for everybody to recover or be cured. And I am only realizing that not everyone is wanting to revisit the initial trauma because of the intense pain it is associated with. Thank you, Dr. Lockie, for that important information, and thank you all for coming to watch the Daily Dose of Information. We hope to see you next time on an early 9 to 10 a.m. breakfast with us. Talk to you next time.